interesting contrast, which has been commented by many people, between Britain and France politically at the moment, as King Charles III, or as his detractors will call him, King Charles III, prepares for his coronation coming up on the 6th of May and encouraging British people en masse to celebrate this monarchist, royalist celebration of hyper-narcissistic, capitalist, looting colonial culture. On the other hand, King Charles had to cancel his visit to France, which is undergoing a rolling uprising against the forced pension reform of raising the pension age from 62 to 64. In France, the protests have continued, and today we'll see again millions of people coming out in the streets. There has been over 100,000 people protesting in Paris. Police brutality has resulted in one protester being in a coma around a protest in west of France around an environmental cause. Young people who initially weren't that supportive of coming out for the protest, after they saw the manner in which the French state forced through the pension law and then deployed police brutality across the protest movement, now are entering the protest movement. That's young people in their hundreds of thousands, and clashes with police and self-defensive, offensive clashes with the police are increasing. Scenes of lines of police vehicles on fire, police being attacked, as finally as a counter-response to the massive police brutality, which is creating a lot of commentary from rights groups protesting the aggression from the police there. And also, while the French trade union leadership are staying firm that they say they will not enter into any conversation and negotiations and talks with President Macron and the French government until the pension law is basically put on freeze or is removed in its entirety, and then they will talk. In sharp contrast to the sellout trade union leadership in Britain, apparently, which is halting and pausing strikes, losing their momentum, cutting very low deals with employers and the government, real terms pay cut deals, and demoralizing the working class, creating a deeper political depression, as we see now. It's some 6 months that there's supposed to be a quote-unquote strike wave, which lost its momentum by the end of last summer anyway, pretty much immediately as it started. And now you've got trade union leaders who are cutting deals for real terms pay cut. It remains to be seen what happens next, because Britain is in a very strange situation of a nearly total lack of radical response from most of the population, really. So it's a really bleak outlook in Britain, but in France one struggles to see how the outcome cannot but be the French government annulling their pension reform and the victory of the organised working class and allied radical forces in France there. When it comes to also the anti-colonial challenges in France, of which there are many, I mean, there was one trade union leader who came out with some far-right posture about Macron being controlled by the Rothschild bankers or something, some classic neo-Nazi trope. But in general, there are challenges of racism and far-right politics in France, but when people are in the streets around a basic working class demand, that is the relatively best situation to contend and push back racist and colonial politics. It means that the entire, for example, radical immigrant-led protest movements are on the streets and deployed, and there have been reports of clashes with racists and fascists who have been physically and violently removed from protests